internal conflict, it's really important to understand what internal conflict is. So internal conflict is two opposing beliefs. So for example, if you have a sense that I want to keep drinking, alcohol isn't a problem for me. Sure, I have the odd hangover and I occasionally do things that I regret, but my drinking's not that bad. That's one belief, and that will be held in your subconscious. And then you hold an opposing belief. And this is where it gets really painful. The opposing belief, there will have been some kind of trigger. And for me, it was when I saw an article on the news, and also my hands started shaking uncontrollably after drinking one night, and they just wouldn't stop. And this was a trigger for me. And that was when I started to say to myself, I think I need to get a handle on my drinking. And this was in my conscious mind. So the belief around drinking and not being a problem is in your subconscious. Your belief around wanting to stop drinking is in your conscious mind. The two of them are in direct opposition. You've got an argument in your head, and it's really, really uncomfortable. And like I say, I sat with this for over 5 years, and I just swayed from one to the other. In the book, you'll read about this, and I talk about it in the context of a military leader who 1 minute they want to lead one army, the next minute they move over to the other army, and there's just a war going on in your mind. Now, there's only one way to end this, which I'll share with you in a second, but our internal conflict always starts from some kind of trigger. Before internal conflict, we live in ignorant bliss. And I spent years in ignorant bliss. I was drinking myself to death, but I was in ignorant bliss. I didn't think I had a problem. And then we all will have had something, whether it was an event or something we saw or heard, that will be that trigger. And that's when our conscious mind starts to say, you need to stop drinking, you need to get a handle on this, you need to cut back. And then the war erupts, and it's painful, and I know how it feels, believe me. So think about how that feels for you. Describe the feelings you've experienced, and think about ignorant bliss. Like I say, ignorant bliss for me was very much, I'm drinking myself to death. I'm not reading it. I would ignore things on social media. If it said that alcohol was dangerous, I would avoid those. I'd stay well away from them. And it's general. And the other thing you have to consider, ignorant bliss, once you've moved into a place of internal conflict, you can never ever go back to ignorant bliss. And it's important to understand that, because often you'll quit drinking and you might experience some discomfort, some cravings. You might not be sleeping properly at the start. And alcohol will try and tell you that it will solve all of your problems. It's the master of illusion, but it won't, because we think it's going to put us back to being in a place of ignorant bliss when everything was fine and we didn't have internal conflict. It's complete BS. All it does is puts you right back in the middle of the conflict, right back in the painful place. You don't escape. Of course, alcohol's a drug, so for a few minutes or maybe an hour or two, you get a sense of escapism. As soon as it wears off, you're right back there. And in fact, you feel worse. So know that it doesn't put you back to ignorant bliss. And going through the short-term discomfort is a way better path to take. Because once you've gone through any short-term discomfort, you come out the other side free. You're off of the hamster wheel, the daily cycle. You're out of it and you're free and you're at peace. Yes, there can be some bumps in the road, and I'm going to talk about that to make sure you're set up for success, but you're no longer in that place where you're battling with this horrific feeling inside of yourself of 1 minute wanting to do one thing, the next minute wanting to do something else. And the way to end it mostly is through education. The more you learn, the more you show up to things like this, the more books you read, the more videos you watch, the more podcasts you listen to, the more you're going to get your subconscious mind to pay attention. Because your subconscious mind, it wants to look out for you. It wants to protect you, but so does your conscious mind. but the subconscious just needs updating. It needs to get with the program, and the more information you soak it with, the more it comes round to the right way of thinking. So the goal is to really throw yourself into this and soak your subconscious mind with as much information about living alcohol free, the benefits of sobriety, and the dangers of drinking. The more that goes in, the more it gets on the same side as your conscious mind, and then harmony exists in your mind. The war stops and it suddenly becomes easy. You don't need willpower. Yes, you might need a bit of willpower at the start, but you don't need bucket loads of it, because willpower is like a muscle. It wears out and it's painful. Imagine if I asked you to hold a weight above your head for 90 minutes through this whole workshop. Probably halfway through, you'd need to put it down because your willpower would wear out. Whereas if you've got the right mindset, if you've got the two sides in your mind in harmony, peace exists. You don't need as much willpower. So let's just move on to the next one. And this is just a diagram of the loop of addiction, which really, you know, it goes from a place where we start, hang on, here we go. So we have a trigger or a cue, which is where we start thinking about drinking, which is the orange one at the bottom. Then we have an internal conflict. Do I drink? Don't I drink? We wrestle with the thoughts in our mind, which is painful. Then we move into a state of kind of denying that we've got a problem, deluding ourselves that alcohol's okay. Then we make a decision to drink. We get excited about the anticipation of having alcohol. And I believe that a lot of our cravings and that feeling is about the anticipation. It's not necessarily about the drink. Can you ever think of a time you've got excited about the second drink, the third drink? No, we get excited, first of all, about the boost of euphoria that we get. And I'll explain a bit about that in a moment. But it's the sense of anticipation and the relief when we actually buy the booze as well. Both of those things create a chemical reaction. So alcohol actually messes with us and messes with our brain before we've even drunk it. Have you ever had that feeling when you go to the store? Because I know I used to have this, and I would buy my wine and I would actually feel a sense of relief. I would go, I've got my wine. I feel good now. Everything's okay. I can start looking forward to it. That's how alcohol messes with us. Then we act on the thoughts. We actually drink. We either binge drink or we drink till we're drunk. Then we feel a temporary sense of relief. As I say, alcohol is a drug, so there has to be an upside, but it doesn't last very long. It's a temporary sense of relief. And obviously when we're drunk, memory loss, regrettable behavior, the list is endless. And then as the alcohol wears off, we can feel guilt, shame, regret for things we've done, things we've said, whatever it may be. And this is where I want you to get really self-aware and start noticing this. Don't just dismiss it. It's all data that you can use to your advantage. And then, sorry, I just clicked onto the next slide, a bit click happy. And then you can have feelings of, like, I'm a failure, I can't do this. And then you have a hangover, withdrawal, craving, and then we can have anxiety, we can have emotions through unmet needs, anger, fear, stress, worrying, etc. And then we go back round the loop again, and on and on and on it goes. And I often think of, if you've ever been to the circus and you see the elephant walking around, and it goes round a rope that is in a circle, and it goes round and round, and it's been trained to a habit of going round and round this rope. Elephants are heavy and powerful. It could step out of that rope anytime it wanted and walk straight out of the circus tent, but it doesn't. It's in this cycle because it knows no other way. And I don't know if you've read the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It's a brilliant book. Oh, that's a side note. I won't get into that now. Just read it. It's my book of the year, other than mine. But it goes round and round in this loop, and it could just step over that rope at any time. So getting out of that cycle, think of yourself like the elephant. There's nothing physical. There's no brick wall in your way. You can just step over that rope and walk right out of the big top and out into the fields beyond. if you wanted to, but we've conditioned ourselves and it seems scary. The rope is only like this, but it feels like we're going over the tallest wall and it's so tough. But I'm going to make sure we get into everything you need to know around that. So I know I should have shared a poll with you now, so I'm just going to stop doing my screen share. And where's the second poll? There we go. Right, so let me just launch this one. Which reason applied to you? So I knew there was another poll. I'm really sorry. Right, which reason applied to you? You can choose more than one answer. This was in relation to the reasons why we drink, whether you place a high value on alcohol because of your experiences, whether you feel you get very, very strong cravings, or whether you use alcohol as a coping mechanism around emotions and discomfort that comes up for you. And it's pretty even looking at this. Wow. I've never used these polls before. They are super cool. Okay. So a few seconds more, I'll end it there. I'm sorry, I should have shared that. So coping mechanism was the highest. Hopefully you guys can see all of the results there. So it's pretty even across the board, and that doesn't surprise me. So I'll just stop that one. And I know there should have been another one. Internal conflict. I just want to launch that one as well. So have you experienced that internal conflict that I've been talking about? So yes, I've got it now. Yes, in the past, but not now. Or no, I don't know what you're talking about, Simon. I've never had it. Not one person has said they've never had internal conflict. That is amazing. I thought I thought there would be a smart ass, and there's not one. How cool is that? We've got almost 200 honest people on here. I love that. Thank you. I love it. You're showing up and being honest and vulnerable. That's awesome. So I'll share that with you as well. And everybody, 100% of people have either got it now or they've had it in the past. So that really says it all. So hopefully the understanding that internal conflict can be ended through education, throwing yourself into this, through soaking your subconscious mind so it moves into the same place as your conscious mind. You absolutely can do that. You can end the internal conflict. And more importantly, knowing that there is absolutely no point drinking if you've experienced internal conflict, because all it does, it'll give you the illusion that it will release you, it will set you free, but you'll just end up straight back in internal conflict again. There's no benefit other than an hour of relief. Is it worth it? No way. Not for me anyway. And when you understand all of the benefits you gain in sobriety over the medium to long term, you'll absolutely be questioning why you bothered in the first place. I can't believe I didn't do all of those polls. Right, I'm up to date with my polls, and hopefully you can't see them on the screen now. There we go. Right, there we are. Okay, let me get back to my slide. Sorry, I'm just looking on the other screen. Did I yeah, I shared them. You saw the results of that one, didn't you? Yeah, there we go. There we are. Right, I think this is the slide that I said was here. Right, this was the one that I thought was the third slide. Right, the most common reasons people believe they like to drink. Now, I need you to get a handle on the reasons why you think you like to drink. Now, I've written down the most common. Pretty much all of these applied to me. So it helps me relax. Alcohol eases my stress, it eases my anxiety, it stops me worrying, it helps my confidence, it helps me have fun, it calms me down, and it feels like a reward. So think about which of those apply to you. There might be some other ones. And then we're going to go through a little process where we kind of debunk them and prove that actually it doesn't do that whatsoever. And they're false beliefs, which is why I put the picture on there that says this is fake news. So let's just click on to the next one where we're going to explore these in a bit more depth. And this is where you might want to write something down. Again, you can do this as you move through the book, or you can wait until you've got the slides, because you're probably trying to digest the information from me as well. But I did do another poll here. I think I can share the poll while I've got this open. So here we go. So you can do it on there as well. So that which reasons apply to you. You can pick as many as you want. Hopefully you can see it, or do I need to stop the screen share? I'd be interested to see which is the most popular. And actually, it looks like it's one that I didn't expect. This is some amazing data that is just going to really help in terms of tailoring the way I coach and some of the things that I share. So the top three: helps me relax, eases my stress. Oh, they're still moving. We've got a few more. Hang on. Yeah. Helps me relax, eases my stress, and amazingly feels like a reward, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be more around fun and anxiety. So that's interesting. Let me just share that with you so you can see the results. Feels like a reward was the top one. That's incredible. And again, this really helps me because I can tailor what I talk about around those top things as well. That's not to say we won't cover off the other ones, but I just wanted to, that information is so powerful. Right, that's that. Let me get back onto the sharing my screen. This is the most things I've ever done at once, and I haven't broken it yet, so we're doing well. Okay, right, so let's just look at a few of these beliefs and explore these statements. So the whole process of starting to pay attention to why you drink and the beliefs that you've got is what will unlock this for you, as well as noticing internal conflict, knowing that you can work on yourself to bring harmony in your mind. It's all going to come together if you put the work in, if you show up. And I'm going to tell you how to show up as well in a moment. So I want to just explore a few of these statements. So alcohol helps me relax. Alcohol eases my stress. It eases my anxiety. The way to do this is, and in fact, I'll just jump onto the next slide. The way to do this is by acting a bit like, so what I want you to do is create kind of healthy new belief statements. So if you've got a belief that alcohol is a reward, then, and I'll use that one because that was the most popular. So write out the pros and cons of that in relation to your specific belief, and make sure you get a journal. It's so important. A notepad will do, or you can print off. There's a workbook that comes with the How to Quit Alcohol in 50 Days book. You can print that off and use it, but make sure you've got somewhere where you can write your notes, your reflections. It's so important. One of the people here, Judy, who's I've worked with since day one, and she's doing amazing at the moment. She is the queen of journaling. She goes through so many journals. She's got enough content now to publish probably 3 or 4 books, but it's helped her so much. So please treat yourself to a journal. And I'm just going to explain this a bit more so you really understand it. So if you're hanging on to a belief that alcohol feels like a reward, I want you to pretend that you're in a courtroom. Now, I don't want you to end up in a courtroom, but just pretend you're there and act like the defense and the prosecution for the belief. So we can hang on to beliefs, false beliefs. I used to believe that everything I believed was true because I believed it. It was true. And I was not open to my beliefs being challenged or my beliefs being wrong. Know that we can have beliefs that are false. We can have beliefs that can hold us back, and we can have beliefs that limit us. We can have beliefs that are completely wrong. And believing that alcohol is a reward or believing that alcohol eases your stress is a false belief. But you need to convince yourself of that, because right now you might not believe me. You might be sat there nodding your head thinking, well, yeah, I feel when I drink, I actually feel less stress. So you need to act like the defense and prosecution in a courtroom and see what the evidence is. Discover the truth. And this is where you'll need a piece of paper to do it. You don't necessarily need to do it now. Take your time over it and dig into it, because it's worth spending some time on. And you can do it for each and every one of your beliefs. So if you take alcohol helps me relax, which was the most popular one, Now, of course, as I've said, and I make no apology for repeating myself because it helps things sink in. Alcohol is a drug, so there has to be an upside, and one of the upsides is that alcohol numbs our senses. So, which is why we don't feel as much pain when we drink. I mean, that's why alcohol was used in times gone by when they did operations on people. It numbs the senses, it numbs pain. So it's not relaxation. It's just that your senses are dulled. So you don't feel as sensitive to things as you normally do. So it's not relaxing you, it's numbing your senses. That's the first thing. So, and, but I will concede on behalf of the defense for that particular argument that alcohol does give you 60 minutes, 2 hours, maybe three, depending if you pass out or fall asleep, a period where you are more relaxed than you might be normally. So there is a period of that. Now, right after that, so for me, I would drink from 7 p.m. till the wine ran out. Normally, I'd start fine. The first hour, 90 minutes would be okay. I'd feel more relaxed. I'd feel relief that I'd got my wine glass in my hand. But then I would start to shoot my mouth off. I would probably upset my wife and we might start to argue. I might get snappy with my son. I might shout at him. And I would start to feel less relaxed. I would start to feel stressed. That's the opposite of relaxed. This isn't relaxing me now. This is having the opposite effect. Then, and this is the short version, by the way, assuming that I didn't drive my car drunk, start a fight, commit a crime, or anything like that, because none of that is relaxing either. Or get run over by crossing the road and not seeing a car come in, ending up in A&E or a police cell. None of that's relaxing either. Then I would go to bed. As I climb the stairs, probably the room's spinning. I might be sick. None of that's relaxing. My wife would probably turn her back on me or say something horrible to me because I've been nasty or selfish or whatever it might have been. That's not relaxing. I'd wake up with a hangover the next morning feeling terrible, but I've got to go to work. I'm not motivated. I've got no energy. My breath stinks of booze. People are noticing it. Maybe people are commenting on it behind my back. None of that's relaxing. This is all stressful stuff. The only argument, and there's more, I could go on for an hour just about that, and I could do it for every single one of those arguments. The only thing in favor of alcohol is the fact that it dulls our senses for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then after that, it's all downhill and it gets worse and worse. The relaxation sensation turns into complete stress, and in some cases, it turns into a complete nightmare. So know that your beliefs can limit you because they're holding you back from being the best version of you. When you hang on to beliefs that aren't completely true, you limit yourself. And I did it for 20 years, and it was unlocking the true beliefs for me that set me free. So explore your beliefs with curiosity, with excitement, and know that you've got better beliefs. You can have better beliefs that will serve you and will turn you into a better version of you. So have you got anything to lose? I don't think you have, by at least having that, doing that exercise with yourself on all of those beliefs that you ticked, and you might have more. It can set you free. It absolutely can. So here's a process. Now, I work alongside Annie Grace at This Naked Mind. I know a lot of you know me through This Naked Mind and Annie's work, and Annie's amazing. If you've not read her book, This Naked Mind, then that's another one to add to your reading list. So Annie came up with a process called the ACT process, which you should be able to see on your screen now if I hadn't covered it with the menu. There it is, right at the bottom. So the way you do this, so this is you've done your defense and prosecution. We've identified that actually this belief doesn't look so solid any longer. I can see arguments. I can see that believing that alcohol makes me relax is really not that true. It does for a little bit, but it's not that true. Now I've done this. I didn't realize the one around. So I've forgotten the one. The top three are different to the one I did it on, sorry. And I did it on I can only have fun when I drink. So Annie's process is called the ACT technique. The first part of ACT is awareness. You bring awareness to the limiting belief, which we've just done. You've just done that. So awareness of the belief that's holding you back, the belief that's not allowing you to be the best version of yourself. Then you gather information and evidence. This is clarity, awareness, clarity, AC. That evidence can be from things you've read, things you've heard people talking about. So you might have heard people. So in this example of I can only have fun when I drink, you might have heard people who are sober saying that they're having more fun since they've quit drinking than they've ever had when they were drinking alcohol. So you've got some information. You don't know it for sure because you've heard it from somebody else, but that's still information. You might have read books, you might have listened to podcasts, you might have had a break from drinking and noticed that actually you did have more fun, or you did feel less stressed, or your anxiety started to fade. So whatever information you've got, you can bring that to the clarity part of this process. And what you then need to do is the T, which is a turnaround statement. And this is where you form your new belief. Now, you cannot, if you're not, you cannot have a belief that is untrue. It just doesn't happen. If you do that, you're not going to stand by it. It's just going to feel fake. So the belief has to be 100% true for you. And it's really important to tailor your belief to where you're at on your own individual journey. So if you've never had a break from drinking and your limiting belief was, I can only have fun when I drink, it's impossible for you to say, I will have more fun if I don't drink alcohol, because you've never experienced it. You don't know that for a fact. But you can say what I've put here, which is, I think I might have more fun without alcohol, and I'm going to give myself the opportunity to find out. That's true. That's a true belief. You've gathered some evidence that tells you you might have more fun without drinking, or life might be less stressful without alcohol. Your anxiety might reduce without alcohol. And I'm going to give myself the opportunity to find out. I'm going to see what that looks like for me. That's a true belief. Of course, if you've had a break from drinking and you already know that, then you can say, I know that I have more fun when I don't drink. So you need to tailor that to you. So at the bottom there, the ACT process, awareness, clarity, turnaround. And you can use it in other areas of your life. It doesn't just have to be with alcohol. We carry many limiting beliefs, and getting clarity on these is an amazing thing. And the turnaround statements can be really powerful. So I'm just going to jump on to the next slide. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to just do here we go. Right, the next poll. This one I'm nervous about. Here we go. Launch poll. Do your beliefs feel so solid now? After a quick evaluation of your beliefs about alcohol, do you feel that some of the beliefs you had when you came into this, maybe alcohol's a reward, alcohol helps my anxiety, do you feel that they are absolutely true, absolutely bolt on solid? But this is really interesting. You're going to enjoy looking at the results of this one. And I'm absolutely enjoying it. Not one person, not one has said, no, my beliefs are true. Oh, one person has. I'm not going to name and shame. I can't actually see who you are. They're anonymous. But whoever that one person is, I'm going to make sure by the end of this that you've changed your mind. So only one person has said, no, my beliefs are true. There is no way they're wrong. However, maybe their beliefs were because they're already sober. And I know there's a few people here who have been alcohol free for a significant period of time. So let me just share this with you, because a lot of people are recognizing that actually my beliefs are not so solid. I now can see that alcohol doesn't help my anxiety. I might think it's a reward, but there's nothing rewarding in being sick, in ending up in a fight, in falling out with my partner, drink driving, ending up in hospital, whatever it is. And it can be big things, it can be small things. We've all sent drunk texts. We know how embarrassing and shameful it feels when we pick up our phone the next morning and cringe as we see who we've sent those messages to. So when you have a belief that alcohol is 100% fun or 100% a reward, it's not. It really isn't. It's dulling your senses, and it's a belief that's holding you back. So I'm really, really pleased to see that many people have said, yeah, actually some of my beliefs are fake, or I don't think any of my beliefs about alcohol are true. That is amazing. And it's made me feel a little bit emotional seeing that. That's awesome.